Welcome everyone. One of the best ways to prepare for the IELTS speaking test is to see it in action. That's exactly what we're doing today with this complete mock test from Spinta. As you listen, think about what the candidate does well and where they could improve. Afterwards, we'll compare notes with a full performance breakdown. Let's begin. Good morning. My name is Mark, and I will be your examiner today. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Good morning. My name is Daniel Roberts. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Daniel. Where are you from?
I am from a city called Leeds, in the north of England. I have lived there for 5 years before I moved to study in other city, but my family's still there.
Right. Let's talk about home and family. Do you live with your family now?
No, not now. I live in a small flat near my university with 2 friends. It is convenient and also a little noisy sometimes because of traffic and neighbors, but overall I like it.
How often do you visit your family?
I try to go back every month if possible. Sometimes I can't because of exams or work, then I call them every weekend. I really miss them when I am busy and they say the same.
What do you enjoy doing with your family when you meet?
Usually we cook together, eat and watch old movies. My mother, she always make a big dinner and we talk a lot. It is simple but comfortable. Also, we sometimes visit the park where I played as a child.
Okay, now about your studies. What are you studying at the moment?
I am studying environmental science at university. I am very interested about issues like recycling and sustainable energy. I want to work in a sector where I can help reduce waste and make towns more green.
Why did you choose that subject?
Well, I grew up near a river that was polluted, and I saw how that affected people and wildlife. That experience made me feel I should do something practical. Also, I like science and outdoor work, so it fit my interest and personality.
How long have you been studying it?
I started 3 years ago. At first it was difficult because of heavy lab work and reading, but now I feel more confident and I understand how things connect. I plan to continue with a master's after graduation.
Right. Let's talk about free time and hobbies. What do you like to do in your free time?
I like to play guitar and listen to music, and sometimes I go running in the evening. Music helps me relax after study. I am very interested about music since I was a teenager, and I try to learn new songs every month.
What kind of music do you prefer?
Mostly acoustic and indie rock. I like lyrics which are meaningful, not only noise, but I also listen to classical when I need to concentrate for reading, because it is calming and not distract me.
How often do you practice guitar?
I try to practice about 5 times a week, maybe half hour to 1 hour each time. If I have heavy assignment, I play less, but I always return, because it is my way to relax, and also to meet friends who play too.
Do you prefer to spend free time alone or with others?
It depends. If I want to study, I prefer alone because I can focus, but if I want to feel good, I go out with friends. Social time helps me to reduce stress and feel connected. It is important for me.
Now about daily routine. Can you describe a typical weekday for you?
Sure. I wake up around 7, have quick breakfast, and then I go to university by bus. During the day, I attend lectures and sometimes lab sessions. After university, I do exercise or practice guitar, then study in library till evening and return home to cook and sleep. Weekends are more flexible.
How do you usually travel to university?
I usually take the bus because it is cheap. Sometimes I walk if weather is good because it is healthier and faster when there is traffic. I prefer to walk than to take bus when I have time.
Thinking about the future, what are your plans after graduation?
I hope to find a job in environmental consultancy or a government agency working on waste management. I want practical experience and then maybe start my own small project for recycling in local communities. I know it is hard, but I am motivated.
Why is that important to you?
Because I think small local actions can make a difference. If people change habits and policy supports them, we can see cleaner cities and better health. Also, I want to feel my work has real impact, and not only office tasks.
Thank you. That is the end of part 1. Now part 2. I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 2 to 3 minutes. First, I'll give you the topic. Please listen carefully. Describe a time when you helped someone. You should say who you helped, how you helped them, why you helped them, and explain how you felt about helping them. You have 1 minute to prepare, and you can make notes if you wish. Please begin when you are ready.
Okay. A time I helped someone was last summer, when one of my neighbors, an elderly man, had trouble with his garden after a heavy storm. He lived alone, and he couldn't move heavy branches, and there was a lot of mud blocking his path. I saw this while I was going home and I thought, I can do something. So I knocked his door and offered to help. He was grateful and he told me he didn't know how to ask younger people for help. I spent 2 afternoons with him, clearing branches, cleaning gutters and fixing a small fence. Also, I helped him to arrange a local gardener to come and do more repairs at a lower cost, because he was on a tight budget. I helped because I remember my grandparents when they were elderly and how neighbors they helped them. It felt natural to help. During the work we talked a lot about his life, and he shared interesting stories about the town in older times. After the work was done, he invited me for tea, and we continued to see each other sometimes. I felt very satisfied because not only the garden was nicer, but he seemed happier and less worried. It also made me realize that community support matters, and small actions can reduce loneliness for older people. I learned practical skills too, and the experience changed how I think about volunteering. I would do the same again if I see someone in need, because it gives both parties a good feeling and it builds trust in neighborhood.
You mentioned arranging a gardener. How did you find someone affordable?
I asked in a local community group on social media, and some people recommended a small business run by a family. They usually do work for neighborhood and they accepted a small fee. I also talked to the owner and explained the man's situation and they gave a discount.
Right. When you were helping, did you learn anything about yourself?
Yes, I saw that I can be patient and practical under pressure. I also felt more comfortable speaking with older people. The experience made me want to do more volunteer work in future.
Thank you. That is the end of part 2. Now part 3. We'll discuss some more general questions related to helping people and community. Do you think people in your country help each other much nowadays?
I think it depends on the area. In small towns and some neighborhoods, people still help each other a lot because they know each other, and there is trust. But in big cities it can be more difficult because everyone is busy, and people often keep to themselves. Also, technology sometimes change how we interact. Social media helps to organize help, but it also replaces face-to-face contact.
Why might younger people be less likely to help older neighbors compared with previous generations?
Young people today often have more work pressure, study demands, and different social life. Many also move away for jobs, and they don't live next to their family. In addition, some traditions about community support have changed. People rely more on services and think paid help is normal. But I think values can be taught, and volunteering in schools can encourage young people to help.
Do you think that governments should do more to encourage community volunteering?
Yes, governments can put policies and incentives like small grants or support for community centers. They can also include volunteering in education programs and recognize volunteers with awards. If there is funding for local projects, it makes it easier for initiatives to start and volunteers to feel their time is valued.
How can technology help people to help each other?
Technology can connect people quickly. For example, apps for neighborhood help or groups on social media where people post requests for assistance. Also, online platforms can match volunteers with tasks and keep records of available services. But there is a downside because online contact doesn't always create real trust, and some people may be suspicious of strangers online.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of using paid services instead of community help?
Paid services can be more reliable and professional. They provide trained staff for tasks like home care or repairs. But they cost money and may reduce spontaneous neighborly support, weakening community bonds. Community help is often cheaper and builds relationships, but it may not be consistent or skilled for complex tasks.
Do you think volunteering should be compulsory in schools?
I think making it compulsory might be problematic, because some students already have heavy workload or family responsibilities. But encouraging it strongly and offering flexible options is better. Volunteering can teach empathy and practical skills, so schools should provide opportunities rather than force students.
How do attitudes to helping differ between cultures?
In collectivist cultures, people often see community help as natural and expected, while in more individualist societies there is emphasis on personal responsibility and formal services. That said, within any culture there are variations, and many people help others out of kindness, regardless of cultural norms.
Can helping others have personal disadvantages?
Yes, if someone helps too much they may become exhausted or neglect their own needs. There's also a risk of dependency, where people rely on help and don't develop skills. So balance is important, and volunteers need support and boundaries.
What role do workplaces have in supporting community projects?
Companies can encourage staff to volunteer by offering paid time off for community work, organizing team volunteering days, and partnering with charities. This can improve company image and employee morale. But some companies only do it for publicity, not genuine commitment.
Finally, do you think helping others will change in the future?
I think patterns will change. Technology will make organizing help easier, and demographic changes like aging population will increase need. I hope policies will also support community networks. People may become more aware of mental health and loneliness, so helping could include social contact and not only physical tasks.
Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test. The candidate demonstrated Band 6 level performance. Notable grammatical errors included saying I've been lived here for 5 years when it should be I have lived here for 5 years, and saying I am very interested about music when it should be I am very interested in music, and another example was I prefer to walk than to take bus when a more correct form would be I prefer to walk to taking the bus, or I prefer walking to taking the bus. These errors occurred occasionally throughout the test, and while they were noticeable, they did not prevent the listener from understanding the meaning. Fluency was generally good, with an overall natural flow, though there were hesitations, fillers like I mean and pauses before some complex points, and a few self-corrections such as, what I mean is during explanations. Vocabulary range was adequate, and the candidate used topical words like recycling, sustainable energy, community centers, and volunteering. However, word choice was sometimes imprecise, for example saying interested about instead of interested in, and some collocations were slightly off. Grammatically, the candidate showed strength in producing extended answers and complex ideas, but weaknesses remained in tense use, article omission, and prepositions. Pronunciation was clear for the most part, with minor stress or clarity issues that did not obscure meaning. Overall, this performance matches Band 6 because the candidate communicated ideas coherently with a reasonably wide vocabulary and generally good fluency, but with systematic inaccuracies in grammar and occasional inappropriate word choices that limit precision. To reach the next band, the candidate should focus on accurate use of tenses and prepositions, practice collocations, and reduce small hesitations by planning answers more briefly before speaking. Thank you for practicing with this IELTS speaking mock test. Visit Spinta for more comprehensive mock tests and personalized feedback to boost your IELTS score.